Hi there, welcome to Island Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a reading for Cancer energy. And for this round of zodiac sign readings, we're going to do this 10-card spread. We'll get some cards out of the Intuit deck to see what they want to add to the story. And then we will, at the end, see what could be coming up next for people, depending on how they're harnessing this energy. So, it's not a personal reading. I don't know anything about anybody's life. I'm just going to read the cards, and the cards, people will be handling this energy differently depending on if they harness high vibe Cancer energy or a more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy. Because in our more worldly, shadowy nature, we can be immature, prideful, egotistical, insecure, bossy, controlling, lazy, try to manipulate and control people. Some people are doing that in the world. They use their Cancer energy and their other traits, qualities, and characteristics maybe in a more shadowy way to try to manipulate people, because high vibe Cancer energy is about having hope and faith and belief and love and being truthful and honest and authentic, and not everybody's there, so we just need to see the truth of it. We have a lot of cards not showing themselves. And when cards aren't showing themselves, it can mean that what some people don't know about people. High vibe people are harnessing this energy in a high vibe way. They previously could have harnessed it in a more worldly, shadowy way. And people might think they're the same person that they used to be. If you are more codependent, if you are more fearful or something, they might think you're still in that energy. Some people. But you're now harnessing these energies in a more high vibrational way. And the people that are shadowy, that have been in relationships with people who are a little more emotionally mature or something than them, they don't want people to know that high vibe people left their life because they harness these energies in a more shadowy way. So, let's get some cards out of the Intuit deck. Okay. And again, we have some cards not showing themselves. 4 cards. Overachiever, sharing, cleaning. Your words have power beyond the finite understanding of your planetary mind. And the reason that came out is because of sacred space. So there's some people who could hide that maybe they're kind of like a social climber and more materialistic. They're willing to share with people, kind of so long as it gets them the end result. Cleaning would be like to get to an end result, I think, to get what they want. And they could be using their words in a more manipulative way. High vibe people that some people don't know about, you're putting in all this work and effort to kind of get balance. We also could look at cleaning as seeing the truth, getting rid of the dirt in your own life, and getting balance. The sharing card now is kind of reminding me of a 2 of Cups card. Getting balance between your more worldly, egoic nature. See, that person has 4 hands. Being balanced between your more worldly, driven nature and wanting. We could also look at cleaning as kind of getting to the truth. You're maintaining balance between those 2 things. Other people could reject harnessing that energy in a high vibe way, and they're trying to hide from people that they're more about maybe even cleaning up their life. Sometimes some people did some things that were kind of shadowy, and they're really putting in a lot of work to kind of get a new job or a new relationship so that they can kind of clean up their image, something like that. Okay. Now, I look at... Oh, that one went with this. Everybody's protecting what they think is sacred. If some people are more about themselves, ego, image, money, materialism, that is what they value. That's where their heart lies in their Cancer energy. And they're protecting that way of viewing life. And other people are aligned with their more high vibrational nature. And that's the foundation they're operating from. So I look at this card as the overarching reason for the reading. Three of Pentacles in reverse. Well, what some people don't know is that there's certain people they don't want to work with. You know, when some people realize they get in mismatched relationships and they know that if they get in relationships with people who are maybe more emotionally mature or loving or just and fair and balanced, and that requires them to kind of discipline themselves to act in a more just and fair way, they might have learned, I mean, it would be a good lesson to learn, I shouldn't get in relationships with people like that. I should quit trying to manipulate people like that, because that's not really the truth of who they are. And we generally tend to like to hang out with people who are like ourselves. So if you're more immature and impulsive, go hang out with some more immature and impulsive people. You know, if you're more materialistic and about ego and image, they should go hang out with people who are more like that. You know, live your authentic life. Hang out with other people who want to live their life like that. And high vibe people know that they don't want to be in relationships with people who are more shadowy. But some of the people in your life who are more shadowy don't realize that you don't have any interest in working with them again. Some people in your life that you might not even know are kind of more shadowy, and you might wonder, why aren't they working together with me more cooperatively? Because the way you live your life isn't the way they want to live their life. Okay. Now, the only cards showing themselves, we have the Three of Swords in reverse. We want to get out of pain and heartbreak, right? We don't want to keep having conflict between our mind and our heart. And so the Three of Swords, Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice. Some people who are more worldly driven don't want to be in a relationship. They've kind of cut those people out of their life. I don't want to be in relationships with people who are more just and fair and balanced, who aren't stuck, who've seen the truth. I don't want to be in a relationship with those people anymore. And the high vibe people that have been in relationships with people who do live more from their mind than their heart, who are hurtful and unkind, they don't want to be in a relationship with those people anymore. And then we have the Nine of Cups, the Moon, and the Seven of Swords. Everybody wants to move forward in a way that they find emotionally fulfilling. Kind of their idea of the dream life. Nine of Cups, Pisces energy. This is what I emotionally want to invest in. This is what I think will make me happy. High vibe. In high vibe, it's people who've learned to love themselves. They're no longer in heartbreak. They offered themselves that cup of love to work through their emotional confusion and all these things in the world that can kind of manipulate them. Their own fear, their own insecurity, their own codependent, lustful, greedy, immature nature. And they don't want to align with that energy within themselves, and they don't want to be in relationship with people who are kind of in that energy. So high vibe people, because high vibe energy is about being more independent of your more worldly, shadowy nature, the high vibe people are independent. And in the Moon card, another Pisces energy, they're listening to their intuition, because they have a dream. The Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy, represented by the Star card. I have a dream I want to accomplish. And if I want to accomplish my dreams, and I don't want to repeat some of these old lessons in life and life experiences, I need to be more independent. I need to listen to my intuition. Again, listen to my intuition because I have a dream. The Six of Pentacles, my philosophy of life is I'm going to maintain balance within myself, not operate from pain, heartbreak, fear, insecurity anymore. I have to listen to my intuition about how to keep loving myself when I get in my fears, and I could be tempted to tip into living more from my mind than my heart, getting caught up in illusion. Because I've already been in those situations. So I keep love as the answer. I keep offering myself love to work with my own fears and insecurities, to not get caught up in my head, to not listen to my intuition about people that I meet. Because some people that I meet, shadowy Seven of Swords, are people who are kind of being deceptive and manipulative. They can create an illusion that they're on the same page as me, but they're hiding that they really live more from their mind than their heart, and they're just trying to manipulate me to get me to exchange time, energy, effort, resources, get in a relationship with them, take that job. And I need to listen to my intuition so I don't kind of get tempted in my more worldly nature by people who aren't being authentic and truthful and honest, who what drives and motivates them is more ego, image, money, materialism, themselves, wanting to indulge himself in a relationship. And I need to listen to my intuition about those people because I want to be in relationships with people who are on the same page as me, who do that work within themselves to offer love to their fears when they get caught up in their head so they maintain balance within themselves and keep acting with character and integrity, high vibe Taurus energy, walk the talk. There could be some people in your life that you wanted to exchange and get in a relationship with. But, some people are already in their own relationships, and some of those people are walking the talk, and they're not going to get caught up in their head and tempted by their lust and their greed to get in a relationship with you. Sometimes, you can know people, you can reach out to people, you don't know they're in a relationship. Some of those people are in a relationship, and they're moving forward already in a high vibe relationship. Well, we need to deal with the truth of that, not get up in our head about it, believe that the divine has a plan for our life, and we keep moving forward. There's other people that you could have reached out to thinking they were on the same page as you, because if we don't know people well enough, or say we knew people, 5 years ago, but we haven't really, maybe they moved or something, and you didn't have much connection with them. But there can be other people in our life that we don't really know what their truth is, but we could have thought that maybe they were on the same page as us, but some of those people aren't going to get in a relationship with us. And we could start to think, because we maybe did kind of have a sense of who they were, and we thought they were more on the same page as us, but maybe we didn't know them as well as we thought, and maybe they really are more about indulging themselves in the world and in relationships for those things of the world. And we deal with the truth of that. We don't stay in heartbreak about it. I can stay in negative energy, heartbreak, fear, insecurity if I want, or I offer love to the situation, listen to my intuition. I don't know some people well enough to know why they do what they do. They're either moving forward in high vibe energy, got their friendships and relationships of their own that they're happy with, or maybe they're more codependent, maybe they're more about these things of the world, but high vibe people would have spoken their truth. So there is no confusion about who they are, what drives and motivates them. And then other people, it's like they know who they are and kind of what drives and motivates them. And that's why some of those people are like, yeah, sorry, I'm not going to hang out with you more or get in a relationship with you, because I know that you're more independent, and I do like to kind of manipulate people. And I don't think I can manipulate you, so see ya. I think I'm in a relationship with someone I can manipulate. And other people, as you're moving forward in life, high vibe Pisces in the 9 of Cups, you're being loving, you're being nurturing, your cup of love kind of overflows, you treat other people the way you like to be treated. There's other people that are listening to their intuition about who they're hanging out with and how they're living their life. And some of those people are going to listen to their intuition and want to be your friend or hire you or get in a relationship with you. So it's just to listen to our intuition. We have all these different people in the world, and we need to listen to our intuition based on the lessons that we've learned in life. Who do we think is being truthful and honest? Who do we think is more balanced? Who do we think really walks the talk? Who tries to present themselves as like a person who walks the talk, but that's really not the truth of who they are? That's just the illusion they create in the world. And you might know some people right now that you know are creating an illusion, and they're off trying to deceive and manipulate someone else. You know? And it's like, you do you. I'm going to keep moving forward, living my life the way I live it. You're going to go live your life the way you live it. There's some people in the world who think that you're creating an illusion, that you're operating from your ego, that you're trying to maybe manipulate and control and deceive them about the truth of who you are. Those are some people who aren't seeing things clearly. And some people think, oh, I think Cancer's confused. I think I have Cancer manipulated. I think I can go do this and this and this, and I don't think Cancer sees the truth of who I am. So as long as Cancer doesn't see the truth of who I am, I'm maybe going to keep doing what I'm doing. And thinking that if they ever decide that they want to come exchange resources with you again, that you're confused about the truth of who they are. But what some of them don't know is you do know the truth. You're no longer in heartbreak. You have learned to love yourself, and you work through the emotional confusion, and you see these people doing what they're doing, and you know they're deceptive, manipulative people. And if those people ever wanted to come exchange resources with you, the Six of Pentacles can be, I exchanged this foundation for this foundation, and I'm no longer interested in being in a relationship with you. And that's when some of those people will be kind of be illuminated to the truth. Right now, they're not wanting to see the truth. And some people who don't realize that you're independent and balanced, who think they can come in and try to confuse you about the truth, keep the truth hidden, that you for some reason would want to be in a relationship with them acting in that way. Those people aren't seeing things clearly. You know, and you can be a stable, grounded, loving person. There's always going to be people in the world who think they can come in and, you know, manipulate you, confuse you, tempt you in your more worldly nature. And those people aren't seeing you clearly. And they will find out, I guess. Let's go look at these cards here. What are the high vibe people doing that other people don't realize? The Empress reverse, the Six of Wands in reverse, the Hermit reverse, the Queen of Swords in reverse. Oh, not in reverse. The Queen of Swords upright. The Queen of Pentacles in reverse, and the Three of Pentacles in reverse. If you previously, like we all were kind of the first 3-4 decades of our life, you know, when we're younger, we're really kind of caught up in things of the world, and we were living more from our mind than our heart probably, because we had these lessons learned about loving ourselves, listening to our intuition. So we could have been more kind of caught up in the world in Libra, Taurus, and Leo energy, kind of more driven and motivated by these things of the world and these things we wanted to go indulge ourselves in that we thought for sure were going to make us happy. But you're no longer in that energy. And when you're no longer in that energy, you are willing to detach from people who are in that energy. So some of you could have disconnected from a Libra or a Leo, or just people who you used to think maybe were just and fair and headed in the same direction as you, that you could have thought were more authentic and warm and loving. But as time went by, you could have realized they weren't. So you cut those people out of your life. Some of those people don't know that you're not interested in being in a relationship with them anymore. The Hermit reverse, you're done reflecting on all of this stuff. You did all the work within yourself to deal with anything you were dealing with, to become independent of it. The Virgo Hermit goes within to see the truth, and you're what they don't know is you have looked at life from a higher perspective. You have put things in perspective, and you have seen the truth about some people in your life. Some people in your life don't realize that you do see them as being a deceptive, manipulative, indulged, prideful, egotistical, maybe materialistic person. But you do. You're done. You've already done the inner work to work through all of it and get to the truth of it. And you become independent of those people. Queen of Pentacles reverse, Three of Pentacles reverse. There were certain things you previously had invested in. Jobs, friendships, relationships, possibly marriages, because the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married suit of the deck. You're not interested in working for those companies, being in those friendships, being in those relationships anymore. But again, some people don't know that. You're also not operating from harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way, being more caught up in ego and things of the world. In high vibe energy, you've worked through your past pain and heartbreak and self-limiting beliefs. You have looked at life from a higher perspective. You do have hope and faith and belief in your dreams. You have learned to love yourself, offer yourself love to let the past pain and heartbreak and all those things go, to be independent of it and not let your more worldly, shadowy nature manipulate you. And you're listening to your intuition moving forward in your life, exchanging resources with the people in your life who you do think act in a just and fair manner, who are authentic and loving and warm and balanced, and the people in your life that wanted you to be in more shadowy energy because they wanted you to be in relationship with them. It's just not how you view life anymore. At one time, like we all were, we were kind of caught up in these things of the world. And we maybe hadn't learned to be more independent. And we could have made more decisions out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and afraid our dreams wouldn't come into reality. And we really wanted these certain things. And then realizing, getting caught up in the illusion of the world didn't make you happy like you thought it would be. And you saw the truth. I need to love me. I need to listen to my intuition. Get out of my ego and thinking I know best. And if I want my dreams to come into reality, because how many of us when we were younger, our intuition was telling us, I don't think you should do that. I don't think this is a good idea. I don't think this person is who we think we are. They're definitely on a different page. But we wanted what we wanted, and we thought, I can change them. I can make it work. And it didn't work out the way we wanted. And then we kind of get out of our ego. And it's like, okay, I got to listen to my intuition. I know what I want to manifest. And I think our intuition was given to us as a gift to help us navigate in this world. And, our intuition isn't like screaming in our face every day. But there's definitely times in our life when it's like, something comes up, we meet someone and we're like, yeah, I want to go do that. And our intuition's like, you should not do that. You should go home. You should leave. Do not get more involved with this person. But we did it anyway. Well, I think our intuition was given to us as a gift because with the moon card and living in a world of duality where people can present themselves any way they want. I'm stable. I'm grounded. I'm loving. I act mature. I'm a person who acts with character and integrity. That can all be an illusion that people create to try to deceive and manipulate us. And our intuition was trying to get us to see the truth, to not be deceived and manipulated. But because we wanted what we wanted, we went and did it anyway. And then it didn't work out the way we wanted. So now it was learning that lesson I need to work with in my decision making, because the Six of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which is about our philosophy of life, and it is what dictates the decisions we make in our life. I am incorporating the lessons that I've learned, that there are some people who are not telling the truth and who are not balanced or just or fair, and they're more about indulging themselves, and they try to confuse people about the truth of who they are. I've already been there and done that and been deceived and manipulated by people like that. Now I'm going to incorporate those lessons into my philosophy of life of how I make decisions. And I have learned and have become independent of some people like that, because eventually, like, I couldn't ignore my intuition anymore. These people are not being truthful and honest. What drives and motivates them could be more themselves, or ego, or image, or money and materialism, and that's not why I want to be in a relationship. I want to be in relationships with people who have hope and faith and belief in their dreams based on love. That's the foundation they operate from, and that isn't the foundation that some other people operate from. Now, for some people who are shadowy in the world, some of those people could be very out of balance. Very out of balance, very unstable, ungrounded, haven't learned to love themselves, don't align with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature, very much could operate from their more worldly, egoic nature. They are sure that is the right way to go. If they just don't want to do love, I don't want to authentically do love. I want to be in relationships with people, but I want to live more from my mind than my heart to keep me safe. I want to indulge in it in all the ways people can indulge in a relationship. I'll create the illusion of love, but I don't authentically really want to operate from a foundation of love, being more authentic and warm and nurturing. I like to operate from my more egoic nature. That is their philosophy of life. They reject the truth, which would get them justice in the world, but they have free will. If they think the best bet, I need to protect myself, I get hurt if I really authentically, emotionally invested myself in people, or that's not my truth anyway. What drives and motivates me is money and materialism. That's how they're going to live their life. And they could be people, they don't want to invest the time, energy, and effort to work through their fears, their insecurities, their self-limiting beliefs, why they're more about themselves, or why they're indulge their more immature, egoic, worldly, whatever nature, you know. You have to be motivated and inspired to even want to deal with the truth of yourself and past pain and heartbreak and things like that. And some people are like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to keep moving forward in my ego. I indulge living in illusion and in denial of the truth. I think I can get the things I want, maybe because of my status and my image, or my looks, or my social clout, or my financial status. And I think there'll be other people who want to be in a relationship with me and not require that of me. And I'll go find those people of the world. And then in a more shadowy Queen of Swords energy that they don't show people, that is their idea of the dream life. I don't want to do this inner work. I do not want to become more independent of my more worldly, immature way of viewing life. And I might be kind of emotionally cold and kind of detached, but I'll create the illusion that I'm loving so people will get in a relationship with me. I really live more from my mind than my heart. 2 cards in their Aquarius energy, regardless of what zodiac sun sign they are. We all in our Aquarius energy either have hope and faith and belief in love, or we're more about ourselves or the world. Some of those people don't want to get married. If some of those people have already been in more formal commitments or marriage, they don't want to do that anymore. They might just want to indulge themselves. So they get in relationships, create the illusion that they have moved on maybe from the past. They're not heartbroken about the past, which could be true for some of them. You know, if you don't really emotionally invest in people, then when things don't work out, it's like, bye. You know, because they weren't really emotionally invested anyway. So long as it works out for them and it's good for their ego and their image, and someone indulges them in their shadowy, poor behavior, works for them. If those people ever start to listen to their intuition and see the truth of them, and then they come up with try to confuse people about the truth why that relationship didn't move forward. And then they go indulge themselves in a different relationship. No investment, no skin off their nose because they didn't really invest in it to begin with. And some of those people right now are indulging themselves in a new relationship with someone who isn't illuminated to the truth of who they are. And they're trying to manipulate someone else into exchanging time, energy, and effort with them in a relationship. That way, it's good for maybe they think their status, their image, or they're just able to indulge themselves in a relationship. It works for them. And so long as that person doesn't know the truth of who they are, they'll stay in the relationship. If those people ever do start to do this, the people that they're in a relationship with start to kind of see the truth. From the 1 sword to the 7 of swords is the 6 of swords. Again, Aquarius energy. I want to move a relationship forward to bring a dream into reality. And they're starting, if they start to wonder at some point in the relationship, it's like, this doesn't seem to be moving forward in the way I thought it was going to move forward. You know, I'm kind of starting to listen to my intuition that kind of why we're in the relationship and where we're headed and why we're in it could be different. And now I'm starting to have some mental conflict about continuing to move forward in it. That's when those people will start to do this work within themselves. They will maybe communicate to the people, you know, this is how I want to move forward. And I want, you know, the way I view relationships in my Taurus energy of what I think is just and fair, and people acting with character and integrity, and where I thought this was going seems to be different than where you thought this was going. Are we going to move forward in that way, or did you want to move forward in some other way that I'm not seeing? Because it seems like we can have kind of like conflicted ideas of where this is going. And if the shadowy people get in a relationship with someone and that person is starting to do that work within themselves, just like some other people did, that's when they're like, okay, it's time for me to figure out a way to get out of this relationship, because this person did think I was really going to bring a dream into reality, and that was never their intention to begin with. Now, for some of them, it is all about ego and image and money and materialism, and some of the shadowy people do want to be in a relationship with someone, but only maybe if those people are willing to share their financial resources with them. And if they're willing to share their financial resources with them, even though it's not based on love, they will go get in a relationship with them and create the illusion, oh my gosh, this is like a dream come true. This is completely the love of my life. And it's just to get someone to exchange resources with them, either to help them feel, some of them is just to make them feel more stable and balanced within themselves, kind of being a more codependent energy, because they haven't learned to love and believe and invest in themselves. They haven't worked through some of their past pain and heartbreak. They could lack belief in themselves and believing their dreams can come into reality. And so they're kind of willing to indulge someone in an illusion because, you know, maybe they're kind of both on the same page in some ways. And not everybody has to be super shadowy. Like I say, the first 3-4 decades of our life, it's learning to love ourselves, believe in ourselves, maintain balance within ourselves, stand up for what we believe in. A lot of people, you know, the first 3-4 decades of their life, it's learning to become that type of person who does stand up for themselves and has learned to love themselves and maintain balance within themselves and get out of more codependent energy. There could be just some people in the world who just want to be in a relationship, like we've all been there. And hoping that if they work together with someone that together they can bring a dream into reality, which is fine. And that would be like a just and fair relationship because they're on the same page. But for some people, they could be in more mismatched relationships. And one person is willing to work cooperatively with someone to try to bring that dream into reality in a more just and fair and authentic and loving way, and the other person could not be on that page. And it's just part of the learning lessons, and not maybe just getting in a relationship to help us feel more stable and balanced. And as we go through life and we learn these lessons, we learn how to be more stable and balanced within ourselves. And that just takes life experience, and people who aren't at that place could still kind of be in that more hopeful, believing nature that even if they think they're in a relationship with someone who isn't really on the same page as them, that they think they'll come along eventually. But, high vibe people want to move forward with other people who their intuition tells them are telling the truth. That they have learned these lessons in life. They do have hope and faith and belief in love. They know they have to maintain balance within themselves, take responsibility for that themselves, and act with character and integrity. And that's what you're doing. And there will be other people whose intuition tells them that you are who you say you are, and you are the type of person they want to be in a relationship with. And you probably presently, between friends, family, adult children, whoever, that are moving forward with you in that way. And as you move forward, you're going to meet other people who want to move forward with you in that way. And you might know some other people who you would like to have move forward with you in that way. But, there's other people in the world that people can align with. And you might be intuitive that some people aren't seeing the truth about some people that they're aligning with. And that, one day they might see the truth. Some truths that you already know about some people that some other people don't know. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Cancer energy that they might not see coming up? The Page of Cups, the Knight of Swords, the Ace of Swords. The reason is because of the Queen of Swords. Well, you're offering peace to the past. That's what sets you free. I accept that people are motivated and inspired by what they're motivated and inspired by. They have their idea of the dream life. I have my idea of the dream life. Some people are emotionally cold and detached, and some people see the truth that it's about love. And you're speaking your truth and defending your truth. You're moving forward in their truth. They're moving forward in yours. And as you're moving forward, there could be some people who you're the person that they think is the answer to their problems. They're still in shadowy energy. They still haven't gotten balance within themselves. They still haven't seen the truth. And that could be people you know, people you don't know. And they think that you're caught up in the illusion of the world and they can come deceive and manipulate you. And I think to those people, you're going to wish them peace, but you're going to speak your truth and keep moving forward in your truth. And that's when some of them realize, oh, I got to go find someone else. Yeah. Because I'm not getting in a relationship because I feel betrayed or because something else didn't work out. I have a dream and I love and believe in myself, and I'm only moving forward with other people who are willing to speak the truth, look at life from a higher perspective, have hope and faith and belief in love. I'm not going to be defensive to the truth. Other people want you to be defensive to the truth. Like, get back there. You should come indulge me in a relationship. I think I'm all this, and you should want to be in a relationship with me. Some of those are people you've already been in a relationship with that, like, get back here and do this relationship the way I want you to. Trying to create an illusion maybe that they've changed and they've looked at life from a higher perspective. But if your intuition tells you, no, you're the same person you were before, you know, you might think I'm confused about the truth of who you are, but I'm not. I wish you peace. I don't have to point out people's bad traits and characteristics. If my intuition tells me they're kind of the same person they were before, if it's someone I know, I can just tell them, I've kind of moved on, kind of looked at life differently. I'm glad that, maybe you freed yourself from whatever you want to tell me you freed yourself from. But, I've moved on. I think it's a waste of your breath, and why get into it? If they wanted to reveal the truth, they would reveal the truth to you. Other people will come into your life and they will be truthful and authentic. It won't be being defensive to the truth. I free willingly tell you the truth about the lessons I've learned in life and how I think we're on the same page. Other people are like, I just want to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you, and you should indulge me. You're loving. You should love me. Or I know you love me. Love me. It's like, I can have love for you and not want to be in a relationship with you. What is coming up for the people who harness, and I think other people are going to come in and defend you because they also, because for some it's just because they see you're on the same page as them and they think a dream can come into reality with you. Other people kind of know some of the same people you do, and it's like, I wish those people peace too. Those people are hiding from the truth. They are more about themselves or these things of the world, and I wish them peace too, and I'm standing up for you, and going to move forward with you because I see they're not being truthful or honest, or they're caught up in these things of the world that they're caught up in. What's coming up for some people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Cancer energy that they might not see coming up? The Queen of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Strength card. So, when people do act kind of in these indulgent, kind of secretive, deceptive, manipulative ways in workplaces and friendships and relationships, there's always going to be some high vibe people in their life that have been a loving, nurturing person in their life, trying to encourage them to temper their ego and their fear and their insecurities and their self-centered nature or their bossy or controlling or immature ways of being. Because they either are just someone who loves them, if that's a friend, a family member, or they wanted to marry them, or they did get married to them. But eventually some of those high vibe people in their life are done. I can't make other people temper their fear, their insecurity, their ego, their immature ways of being. And eventually we kind of see the truth of it. I can love someone, I can treat them in a just and fair, loving, encouraging way, and they can keep kind of being defensive to me, or in their ego and defensive nature, or their prideful nature. And eventually people see the truth. If people were motivated and inspired to temper their more immature or shadowy or defensive ways of being, they would. But eventually we see the truth and we let them go live their life the way they want to live it. And we temper our ego about the fact that we can't change people. And when we realize that what drives and motivates them and how they want to move forward in a relationship, they want to keep investing in ego. We want to invest in tempering our ego. Then we're on different pages and we get out of our ego about it and we move on to go exchange resources with people who we think are on the same page as us. And if there's some people who are kind of don't want to deal with the truth, like to be indulged in a relationship, think they should be indulged in a relationship, or get in relationships more for the ego or the image or the indulgence of it, eventually they're going to be other people who want to be in a relationship with them. They get in a relationship with another loving person who doesn't see the truth of who they are, the same scenario is going to play out again. For some of them, it is playing out again. And ultimately, they might end up in a relationship with someone who's more like themselves. I'll be in a relationship with you. I don't want to move forward in life either. I'm kind of more about my fear, my insecurity, my codependent nature, ego, money, materialism, whatever. I'll be in a relationship with you. And then they get in a relationship, and that would be a just and fair relationship. So long as they're on the same page. They both agree. We both view life the same way. I'm driven and motivated by the same things you are. That's a just and fair relationship. It just might be more from their egoic nature, which is all those possible different things that it could be. I'm codependent. I'm kind of fearful. I don't really want to do love either because I get hurt. But can we create the illusion that we're these emotionally nurturing, loving people because we have fear of doing love? Yeah, okay. Well, then they're just people who are on the same page. And they're not willing to temper their own fears and insecurities to really kind of get the divine inheritance that they could get if they had more hope and faith and belief in themselves and in love and in their dreams. And the high vibe people are just looking for someone who looks at life from the perspective they view it. And it is defending truth and love, not being more about our fear or insecurity or codependency or ego. So there you go, Cancer energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.